have discussed whether or not the story about Hawk Tuah and Brittany Ray Carrera was even real. Was it a skit? Was it something that was just put on by these creators so that they can garner more followers and more fans? Or was it an actual issue in which Brittany Ray Carrera was removed from the show to be replaced by Hawk Tuah? But it calls into question a bigger conversation, which is that in her initial post when she was talking about this, what she said was that she was replaced by Hawk Tuah because she didn't have enough followers on social media. And if you think that sounds insane, it's actually not. So this is a conversation we've had many, many times on this show. We've done certain segments on it. We've talked about it in other respects. But Brittany Ray Carrera has about 250,000 subscribers on social media. Hawk Tuah has a much larger platform, which gives producers a reason to hire her, even if she doesn't feel like she has any acting credits. And if you think this is something that's only going to affect the likes of a Brittany Ray Carrera who doesn't have a huge pedigree in the industry, like I said, she's been working in the industry since at least 2015. That was like the oldest credit that I could find for her, but she's an actor, she's a comedian, she's a writer, she has her foot in the industry. This isn't just happening to the likes of her. This is happening to the likes of like actual actors who you've heard of. So there was this article from like last year about Elle Fanning where she said that she didn't get a role in a major franchise because she did not have enough followers on social media. And Elle Fanning and Dakota Fanning have been in Hollywood since they were kids.
Crazy.
So she missed out. They didn't name the role. Some people speculated that it was Dune Part 2, but that's kind of, she debunked that. She said that that's not what it was. At the time that the article was written, she had 6.2 million followers,
that's a lot of followers
on Instagram. And producers told her, and it wasn't just her. So do you know who Maya Hawke is? The daughter of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. So it's the Nepo babies as well. Said that producers told her that they were hiring based on Instagram followers. She has 8.9 million followers on social media, and said that actors are now expected to share more about their personal lives, and you are not going to have a career unless you do. Which is funny because it's like they're playing with fire each and every day, because one of the things that they get criticized the most for is that the every time an actor post something on social media, they have a loaded weapon and they have it to the head of whichever production that they are working on. So unless they are unless they are producing or posting strictly about the stuff that they're promoting, everything that they post has the potential of being taken the wrong way by the public and potentially sinking some production that costs millions upon millions of dollars to make. She said at one point, Maya Hawke said that she was actually like thinking about deleting her like her Instagram. She's like, I don't like it. I don't want to use the platform. It's not for me. Imagine saying that when you've got like 8 million followers. I don't know if she had, I don't know if that's how many she had at the time. And directors were like, you can't. You will not get work again. And this is the daughter of two famous Hollywood actors. If even the Nepo babies aren't safe, she was in Stranger Things, which is one of the biggest shows on TV. So you can't even work in the industry unless you have a social media presence, even though the social media presence itself has the opportunity of ruining the production you're on.
Like, imagine if like Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff was really popular with Lindsay Lohan, Amanda Bynes in their worst days. I mean, we look at Britney Spears now, kind of how she's spiraling out, you know. I don't know. Like you said, it's a loaded gun. It's kind of crazy.
Well, I mean, not only that, but the most recent Disney
Beauty and the Beast.
Was it Beauty and the Beast? Or
no, not Beauty and the Beast. It's Snow White. My bad.
Yeah, like she basically crashed that plane because of her behavior. And we were talking about this with the whole AI thing, which I think we're going to talk about a little bit today. But yeah, like, is it too dangerous to have someone in a position on your show or whatever, because they might have an opinion that you don't like, or they might just be really abrasive in the way that they share their opinions.
We got a 20 here from Brian Bledsoe. He says the default cynicism is just another product of postmodernism in current culture. I think it's that the tether to reality is no longer just what you can think or what you can see and what you can touch and what you can feel. Now it's what you see digitally, and that's not always real. So it makes life a lot harder to really understand. But there was an interview a long time ago, Chris Gore of Film Threat, and I believe he was giving an interview on Film Courage, which is another YouTube channel discussing the industry. He said, if I'm a producer on a movie, the first thing I'm like on a big budget movie, the first thing I'm doing is I'm telling the actors, I'm like, you're giving me your logins for your social media. And for the length of this production, your social media is not your own, right? Yeah. So the actors are, especially in the age of streaming, actors are largely guaranteed their money. We don't live in the era of the big budget blockbuster like we used to, or even the mid-sized budget blockbuster like we used to, being a force for more than just a couple of actors who, the likes of a Tom Cruise, or even now, if you think about it, the likes of a Pedro Pascal, though I think his is less of a sure bet, is they take Scarlett Johansson is a good example of this. They take the lower payout for the salary with the hope that they will get a larger payout on the back end, assuming that the movie does well at the box office. When things go to streaming, you get all your money up front, but the producers don't want that. The producers want to actually make back the money they put into these projects, so they need you to behave yourself. So they both want you to have a social media platform, knowing that you could theoretically ruin everything for them, but they also want you to not screw everything up, because they need to make their money back, and it needs to be financially viable. Like, it just seems like a miserable business to work in.
They're walking a fine line.
Yeah.
We need to bring DVDs back.
I mean, hey, we were talking about that yesterday. I was asking the question. It was like, I asked Andrew. I was like, could they make a disc where you could get a whole season onto one disc? Because that's my problem. I don't want to buy I don't want to go back to buying physical media, because I don't want to have to take out a disc every 4 episodes to put it in.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're never going to go back to that.
But it's nice to have the collection. I like having all the DVDs on my shelf. I still have them, but now they're in a bag somewhere that I don't even use. In the closet.
Now I just treat them like garbage.
There's a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie. Says, films with medium budgets will try to squeeze them by casting folks who have huge social media followings to save money on conventional advertising. It's becoming more common, unfortunately. Yeah, those types of cameos are becoming more common. And my issue with it is it showed up in like a show that I was already not enjoying. Yeah. I've liked everything I've seen Glenn Powell in so far, at least the things that I've watched. The Netflix movie last year where he played the Hitman. He was really good in Twist. I think it was literally called Hitman.
Twister.
And I really liked him in Twisters. I think he has a good head on his shoulders choosing his projects. He's got Running Man coming out soon. He was just in the news recently for like being kind of two-faced, because he was like at a party, and some actor who was like persona non grata was like, "Hey, I like your work," and he's like, "Hey, I like your work," and the guy's like, "Can we get a picture?" And he's like, "No." And then everybody's like, "Oh, he's so two-faced." I'm like, I mean, he's in the most perception-riddled industry there is. Unfortunately, you're not going to find an actor be simultaneously fantastic at producing his own work, picking the right projects, but somehow being really stupid with who he gets pictured with. It sucks that that's the way things are. But like I said, people who don't like Jason Momoa will still post pictures of him with Mel Gibson and Peter Dinklage, and that was like a decade ago or longer. So it's a perception-based industry. But you're absolutely right, Pop Culture Junkie, that really is in a lot of ways that it's going. But, it sucks, because I would rather see, and they were kind of pointing it out in the Maya Hawke interview, is like, I want to focus on the art. I don't want to focus on all of the hoopla and all of that. But the thing is, they're looking at it from the perspective of an artist, and the producers are looking at it from the perspective of a business person. And they're literally constantly in combat with one another. And I tend to fall usually, and I know this is not necessarily always popular, I tend to fall more in line with the producers, because they can be dicks, sure, but most of the time I'm like, look, if you're taking the money, it's your job to turn in the performance they want and to take instruction from the director. I understand the idea of wanting your artistic integrity intact, but then go do local theater if you want artistic integrity intact, or do something like what a Mel Gibson does, which is to be so big in Hollywood as a producer that you can produce your own work. And then Mark Wahlberg is like that now. He can make whatever movie he wants because he's Mark Wahlberg and he's going to produce it anyways. You can go and do that. I mean, Jenna Ortega is doing that right now. As if you want an example of a young celebrity who's pulling that off, she's going to get more leeway with her performances. Like there was that whole conversation a couple years ago where she went to the producers and she's like, look, Wednesday wouldn't do this. Like this character wouldn't do this. I understand this character. And because now she is a producer, her voice will carry more weight.
You know what Wednesday wouldn't do?
What?
Make herself look the way that Jenna Ortega has made herself look.
You don't think so?
No, Jenna Ortega, like in the first season of Wednesday, she looked normal. She doesn't look as bad in the second, but I've seen pictures of her since the filming of Wednesday for this season wrapped, and she just looks... It's the whole Ozempic face kind of thing. It's like
she's got the
really
caved
sucked
cheeks,
in.
the
Yeah.
sucked in cheeks.
I
no?
think it's just that she grew up and she's...
Yeah.
I don't think it's Ozempic with her. I think
I was, again, in that
Not
show,
Ozempic, but
that
like
show You that I'm
stuff.
talking
Oh,
watching,
yeah.
she's in that too, and she looks like a normal human being.
it's the dyed eyebrows, man. The dyed eyebrows do a number
She
on
looks,
there.
Yeah.
she looks like she's dying.
They get rid of all the cheek fat. Oh, that's the new trend in Hollywood. And that
Buckle
drives me.
fat removal.
But is
Again,
that-
I don't think that's what she did. I think she was always going to look like that when she grew up.
Fair.
But
fair.
that's just my opinion. I don't know. Maybe we need Mary here to ask that question. She would know more.
She would know.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.